Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. This is the free astrotheology course. The textbook is, as you can see, The Celestial Ship of the North by Emma Valencia Strayton, published in 1927. This is volume one of a two-volume work. We're going to begin on page 166. So right now we're streaming on Rumble, Twitch, and YouTube. All right, so you guys let me know if there's a problem with the signal. So we're going to pick it up, page 166. I'm sorry, page 158. The second paragraph from the bottom. Assalamu alaikum. Islam to all the Moors. Shalawama. Namaste. Etc., etc., etc. All right, y'all. So we're going to pick it back up. If you have not seen the videos prior to this, the last perhaps 10, maybe 5 or 10, when we began doing chapter 10. So we're here, chapter 10. If you haven't been here for this, you need to go back and get this information. Of course, you can read the book yourself, and you can even download this book for free. All right, so if you haven't gotten it, go back, read it yourself, or watch all of the videos that I've done, actually lectures, classes. All right, this is great. I just got notification that I'm live. Before I wasn't getting notified. All right, excellent. So hold on, y'all. Let me see. So I haven't gotten YouTube notification or Twitch, but if you've been following my work, you know that I caught hell with YouTube. Trying to stream from different platforms. Streaming from YouTube Studio is just an impossibility. It has been for about a year or two. I just stopped. Let me see. Because of the censoring. That's why I'm streaming from Rumble, because on Rumble, they say they don't censor you. Okay, so and they have a funny ad campaign about this topic. But anyway, let me see if I got notification on YouTube that I'm live. Give me 1 minute, y'all. Now, yeah, see, no notification that I'm live. Let me see if it's streaming on YouTube. One moment. Yeah, it looks. But anyway, let me see if I got notification. Yeah, so it's streaming on YouTube, but the thumbnail is not right. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Sounds like we have a good signal. So let's pick it back up. So our topic is the celestial origins of the House of Yasharallah. Now, in the book, it has chapter 10, celestial origin of the Jewish race. Of course, there is no such thing as Jewish race. There's no such thing as race. So race is a political construct, as you know, and Jew is not a bloodline. There's no Jew nationality. Jew is a religion. In fact, Jew, if you look, there are two directions you can go with this. Jew etymologically traces back to Judah, so you can get that out of the devil's pulpit. Jew also traces back, according to this author, to its celestial origin. But if you must remember that Jew is not a people, it's a religion. So we have to replace that with nationality. Okay, so these are tribes or families of autochthonous Moors or autochthonous Hamites, Kemites, etc., etc., etc. And by the way, Semite, etymologically, when you trace this back, as far back as you can go. Now, I've done a video on my YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel, rather, on the etymological origin of the word Semites. Y'all need to go watch that video because that information is an eye opener. It's an eye opener in terms of nationality, birthright, and inheritance. Uh, I think the thumbnail for that video, it might be Pinocchio. It might be an image of a Pinocchio nose, or it might be an image of some primates like an orangutan and some chimpanzee. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've done it, since I did it rather. So you can get that information, but also Semite come Chemite. They just changed the K to an S. So you can get that out of the celestial ship of the north. All right. So what they're claiming, what they're claiming through Semite, they're claiming to be Chemites, the autochthonous heirs of the land. Okay, so this is a claim they're making through words. Okay, doing magic with words. All right, word magic. All right. So if everyone sees that, that's why Jeremiah 8 verse 8 is such a profound and telling scripture. Y'all go look it up. My favorite version of that is in the Amplified Bible because it provides the most easy to understand English. All right. So of course the other uh, the other versions make it very complex and the meaning is hidden. Okay, so Semite is Chemite is Hamite, and the S was replaced. The K was replaced with an S. Okay, so they're literally stealing our birthright through words. All right, paper genocide. All right. So anyway, so I'm finished with that. Let's go to page 158. 1 plus 5 is 6, and 6 plus 8 is 14. 14 is 1 plus 5. 14 is 1 plus 4, which is 5. Okay, 1 plus 4, which is 5. So I'm going to come back to that. I need to think about what that number means. And well, it's another story. Anyway, let's make it happen. Second paragraph. The covenant of Abraham follows the flood. So today we call the covenant a contract. Ending the first period of the 10 patriarchs. So you absolutely must either read page 156 and 157, or watch the video I did number 13 in this series. Okay, number 13 in this series. You absolutely must read that in order to understand what is meant by these 10 patriarchs. The bow or the circle in heaven was one witness of this covenant, connected with the zodiac, and circumcision was the other. So the bow or circle in heaven, what is he talking about? Let's take a look. Or what is she talking about? So let me show. Let's go to hold on. Go to our online dictionary. Hey, scholars, you have to remember that online dictionaries are very limited. They are very limited. It's always better to have a hard copy, and an old hard copy at that. And it's a very good discipline to look up words, even though the words may seem simple, or uh, You say, okay, I know the meaning of that word because words have nuances. Okay, so here we are at the bow intransitive verb. Here's the meaning: to bend or curve downward, to bend or curve downward, stoop, to incline the body or head or bend the knee in greeting, consent, consent, courtesy. I'm sorry, bow. The word is bow. Acknowledge. Bow. Yes, acknowledgement, submission, or veneration. Number three, to yield in defeat or out of courtesy, submit, synonym, yield. So let me let y'all take a look at that. All right, y'all. So let's see. I can't see it, but I hope y'all can. All right, scholars. So now let's go back to the paragraph. It says the bow or circle in heaven. What does that mean? Well, let's look up circle in heaven. So now remember the definitions that we were given: consent, submission. Wait 1 second here. See if we come up with something interesting. Well, let's see. Symbol sage. Circles, what do they really symbolize? Well, let's see. Okay, so what are circles? Let's see if I can do this with y'all. Okay, so what are circles? According to the Oxford Dictionary, a circle is a plane figure round in shape whose boundary, also known as circumference, that's a very important concept, y'all, in astrotheology, especially Sabian time, is equidistant, so equal distance from the center, as Pythagoras, the ancient Greek philosopher. We know there was ever no such Pythagoras, and mathematician puts it. Circles are the most creative form. Hold on, give me 1 second. All right. So he goes ahead to name them monad, which means a single unit, because circles lack a beginning and an end, nor do they have sides or corners. So there are no angles, no angles, no angles in a circle. Give me 1 second. Okay, so let's go to the bottom of this paragraph here. The circle represents timeless things. Uh-oh. Hold on. The circle represents timeless things, among them eternity, unity, monotheism, infinity, and wholeness. Now, I'm going to make the executive decision to strike out monotheism because our ancient ancestors in Sabian time never knew anything about any external deities. It wasn't something that anyone had ever thought of. So these deities came about during solar time. So I'm going to strike out monotheism from that. They just inserted that in there to give me 1 minute. Okay, so unity. Circles mean unity. Give me 1 second. Monotheism. Infinity, divine symmetry, wholeness. Okay, returning cycles. So circles, returning cycles. The returning cycles of nature are seen to be cyclic. So what are we talking about? Well, Sabian time, celestial time cycles, the great mother, the mother of revolutions, meaning circles, the mother of cycles. All right, the mother of cycles, the mother of time cycles. Hold on, y'all. Perfection. Uh oh. So let me show y'all these. Y'all see returning cycles, perfection. All right. So perfection, this meaning is carried from Buddhist philosophy. So Buddhism, uh, not dealing with deity, traces back to Sabian time. Okay, y'all. Now, if you talk about Buddha or a solar deity, etc., now you're talking about a Messiah or a a solar god, a son, and his mother. All right. So sanctity. What is this? I want to get rid of this. Why? So let's. I don't want to go through sanctity. Okay, heavens, protection. All right. So heavens, of course, that's celestial, right? Containment, of course. Now look at this. It says the sun. So containment, the sun. In astrology, the sun is represented as a circle with a dot in the middle, as a circle with the dot in the middle. Okay, the dot in the middle of the circle, y'all, is the hidden sun, the sun behind the sun, or the central sun. Okay, guys? Uh, hold on. Well, do I want to do this? No, I'll skip that. Here we go. And then there's the flower of life. The flower of life. All right, y'all. So, 1 moment. One moment. All right. So here we go. So when we think about a bow or a bow, it's a half a circle. So a half a circle, as in a rainbow. And of course, a half a circle is a full circle. How do we know that? Well, because remember when we went through the chapter on IU, let me see if I can find that. Maybe, oh, here it is. All right, so take a look. So this is page 154. Oh, here we are. Y'all take a look at that. So you're going to read, do you see where it says that AU is AO and that the U is an O? Y'all see that? Pause the video so you can read it. The U is an O. So the U is a bow, right? All right. So let me read it here. The Egyptian AU was the coming being, the embryo, and was similar to Ptah or just Ta, maybe the P is silent, who personated the embryo, and also to Sut, S-U-T, the ass-headed. So Sut, the ass-headed with the two ears, we went through that, which is actually very interesting. Ayu is the ancient name for ass, A-S-S, as in like a donkey. And this is expressed in the book of Revelation by A-O. The Egyptian A-U signifying who was and is to be. So the coming one, right? The letter U is the letter O. In other words, the bow and the circle. Do y'all see it? The bow and the circle. Everybody see that? So now let's take a look at this again. So here's another meaning of bow. To cause to deviate from straightness, to bend, to inflect, to make crooked or curved. All right. So let's take another look at a bow. Here's a bow and arrow. So you see the string, the string, the tension on the string is causing, let's say if this is made out of wood, if the bow is made out of wood, is bending the wood, right? Creating a bow. All right. Let's take a look. What else do we have? And I think I'm going to stop here. These are different kinds of bows, correct? Different kinds of bows. And for you non-English speakers, take a look at this. So in English, you have to be aware of the many different nuances that a word may have. So here is a bow tie. The other object was a bow and arrow. This is for non-native English speakers, okay? So context is always very important. There's another example of a bow tie. Hold on. So I'm going to get to the point. This is another bow that you'll see on gifts, right? For you non-native English speakers. me see. Hold on. Ah, and here is the bow of a boat for the non-native English speakers. So now let me say this. Non-native English speakers are not familiar with this vocabulary, but also scholars, those of you who are native English speakers, you're not familiar with the concepts and the vocabulary that I'm going over now. Okay, they're just as strange and odd and foreign to you as these basic English words are to a non native English speaking person. All right, do y'all see what I'm trying to say? You have to learn and study the meaning of the words uh, in its various nuances in order for you to comprehend and be competent on the topic, okay? So now let's get back into it, to what I really want to discuss here. So here's a bow, and in the background we see the sun, sun, right? In 1 second. All right. And here we see the rainbow. There we see the rainbow. If we turn it like that or like that, you can also imagine if there was a string attached, you could pull that string and it would have the same effect as it would if you had a bow and arrow, right? If you could somehow manage to imagine, if you can imagine that the rainbow is a solid, made of solid material. So here we are, the bow, a half circle. So remember, a half circle is a U. So there you are. There's the U, and a U is an O. A U is an O. 360 degrees. 3 plus 6 is 9, plus 0 is 9. All right. So now, how many colors are there in a rainbow? There are 7 colors in the rainbow, as you can see. There are 7 colors in a rainbow. Now, where is this taking us? Well, a circle has 360 degrees. 3 plus 6 is 9, plus 0 is 9. The number 9 represents feminine energy, or the feminine extreme end of the line of gender, where the number 9, the circle and the number 9 represents the womb. The circle and the number 9 represents the womb, okay? And so the circle represents a woman's womb, in this case, the celestial womb, and the part, the line extending up to the womb here, this represents the vaginal canal, y'all. This is the vagina, vaginal canal, and the circle is the womb. So we're talking about the celestial womb, all right? So now we're dealing with the great mother, all right? At the extreme opposite end of the line, or in other words, invert the 9, you get the number 6. So this would be the penile shaft, and the circle at the bottom would be the testicles. All right. Now in the testicles, in the woman's over. Let me rephrase that. So now we have a line. At the extreme opposite ends of the same line, we have gender. Okay, masculine energy and feminine energy. All right, the same line. So now we're dealing with the Hermetic law of gender. So at the feminine end, we're dealing with mothers or birthing, rebirthing, producing and reproducing. Does everyone see that? So we're dealing with the great mother typhoon, Sabian time, and the seven colors of the rainbow. Remember, we're dealing with the bow. The context is, let me go back to the context so y'all can see for yourself. The context here is the covenant of Abraham follows the flood, ending the first period of the 10 patriarchs, the bow or the circle in heaven. Talking about the rainbow. Seven colors. Seven, oops, seven colors. All right. Seven colors traces back to the seven stars that make up the thigh of the Great Bear in Ursa Major, or also called Ursa Major, which today is called the Big Dipper. Those seven stars, each color of the rainbow represents one of the seven stars. All sevens, 7 days in a week, the seven colors of the rainbow, you name it, all sevens trace back to the thigh of the Great Bear, which represents the Great Mother Typhoon. The Big Dip, the today we call that the Big Dipper. The Dipper part, those four stars that make up the Great Bear, the Dipper is the celestial womb. Mitsar, which is the second star in the handle of the Big Dipper, is the celestial origin of thought that is birthed out of those four stars that make up the Big Dipper, interact with soil and manifest as flesh. And so this is the house of Yasharala. These are the autochthonous Moors, the Sabian Moors, the Hamites, the Kemites, etc., 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 who have been remixed, who have remixed, who have been remixed by the dark priest. Well, let me not say the dark, well, by the dark priesthood. Y'all know who I'm talking about. By those who use natural law, natural phenomena, and their knowledge of how nature works in an evil, criminal way. That's what I'm talking about the dark priesthood. Okay, darkness is a very good thing, but they have sullied that word dark or darkness. Okay, these are evil. These are men and women who use this knowledge as a weapon to steal the birthright of others, to deny them due process, etc. Okay, to defraud them out of their birthright. Okay, so this is where we are. The covenant of Abraham follows the flood. Now, Abraham, you will remember, the Ab Ram. Ab means original or autochthonous, the autochthonous man. Okay, so if we go into Abraham in this context and the Abrahamic covenant, let me try to share this with you without going too far into it. Hold on. Those of you who follow my work, this is just going to be a short review. One moment. should I start? All right. So I'm going to take you back to the astrology of the Old Testament, or the lost word regained. Now, the lost word regained is astrology. Now, I'm going to go further. The lost word regained in this book is solar astrology. But for the autochthonous Moors, the lost word regained is the circumpolar zodiac, that astrology, the original astrology. Y'all heard? All right. So let's go back to it. I think it was on page, I don't know if I should start on page 4 or 5. Man, sorry, y'all. The lighting is kind of terrible in here. Hold on. It's too bright, too many different sunlight coming from here, bright fluorescent whites coming from here. Hold on. Where should I start? Oh, I'm going to start the last sentence of paragraph 4. And the state between these lives is what is now designated as purgatory. Y'all ought to go back and read this. This is a very interesting read. But in ancient times was lying in the quote unquote arms of Osiris and the bosom of Ab Ram, or due east, due east, or original place. Listen, y'all, or original place of the heavens. Oops, I skipped the line. Or the original place of the birth of light. The original place of the birth of light. The key phrase here, the key expression here is original place, birth of light. What light? Solar time is what it's talking about. Solar time and reality. Okay, this is talking about when the Solarites overthrew the Sabians. Okay? And solar time and solar reality was forced upon the people through warfare and birthright death. A lot of you Christians and Hebrew Israelites, you might not like that, but that is the fact, Jack. Okay? So when the Solarites, when the Osirians conquered their own family, their own bloodline. Now, remember we talked about the house of Yasharallah, or what they're calling Jews, the bloodline people. What I wanted to get to is that we are of the same bloodline, just a different branch of the family. Okay? For example, your aunt Sally and her children, her heirs. Okay? That's all it is. We are all autochthonous Sabian Moors, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. So when we split into different bloodlines, that did not make us different nations. No. See, my position is that this division is divide and conquer. In other words, the scribes just wrote those divisions in to divide and conquer, to confuse and conquer the people. All right, y'all? There is no division. For example, for example, for example, your, let's say your mom has 5 brothers. Your dad, he has 10 brothers and sisters. Your mom has 5 brothers and sisters. Okay? They're still your blood no matter what happens. Whether y'all robbing and stealing from each other, they're still your blood. Okay? Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, the Most High came and did this and did that and made them into a nation. Well, first of all, there is no external God. That's the first reality that you have to accept. YHWH is a knockoff. It's a cheap remix of the Great Mother Typhoon. Period. JC, all of the Messiahs are a cheap remix, a knockoff of Soot, S-U-T, the dog star. The only begotten son of the Great Mother Typhoon. All of these are knockoffs. So that's why I can say confidently that any division or separation of the autochthonous Sabian Moors is Jeremiah 8:8. Is Jeremiah 8:8. Okay. Now let's continue. But in ancient times was lying in the quote unquote arms of Osiris. And Osiris ain't ancient. Okay, there was no sun god during Sabian time. All right. And quote unquote, and the bosom of Ab, A-B hyphen Ram, R-A-M, or the due east, or the original place of the birth of light, waiting for the dawn. I have to come back to this. And that part of the heavens is the first degree of Aries. Now, y'all heard that. Y'all heard that. That part of the heavens is Aries. It's the first degree of Aries. A day equals a degree. So the first day of Aries in the solar zodiac. Okay, y'all? Let's continue. And that part of the heavens is the first degree of Aries, the ram, and signifies the right ascension of meridian. The 3 letters marking capital R, that's the first letter, capital A, that's the second letter, and capital M, that's the third letter, and signifies the right ascension of meridian. Make the correlation to dawn. Okay, so R-A-M and AB, A-B, capital A, lowercase b. Listen, y'all, from father or generator or original. Ha, father. Go back to Sabian time. There is no father. Let me show you. There's no father of preeminence. There's no masculine energy that has anything to do with forming, birthing, or today y'all would say creating. In the religious doctrine, they would say creating. Okay, so no comments. Yes, yeah, huh? All right. So let me show y'all. Let me see if I can find this really quickly. Sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing because of the lighting here. Give me 1 second. I should have waited a little later before I went live. Let the sun go down a little bit so I'm not being blinded here. Uh, it's distracting me. Uh oh, hold on. One minute. Okay, here we are, page 9. Isn't it interesting? So, page 9, look at this. This is the celestial ship of the north. Page 9. Remember the zero, the circle at the top is the womb. The line going down is the vagina. So, feminine energy, great mother typhoon. Now, let me share this with y'all. Let me show the page. Y'all pause this on the replay. I'm going to read through what I want you to see, and y'all can go through it on your own after. All right, scholars? It's actually better if you download the book and get it printed. Hold on. This is kind of difficult for me to just even hold this because of the camera. I think this is a wide angle camera. I don't like it at all. I wish I knew how to attach a new camera. All right, y'all. So here we go. So page 9, the celestial ship of the north, volume 1. All right. So out from this is the middle paragraph. Out from the boundless abyss of darkness, this would be space. Acted upon by divine power, that would be consciousness, or the hermetic law of mentalism, consciousness. Came the holy light. Came the holy light. So let me move one paragraph up. She is referencing the great mother typhoon, imaged as intensely black. Now, I used to wonder why. Why would I see people dressed in all black? Certain people of a certain educational level and a certain economic level, tax bracket for them, they would always wear black, a black t-shirt, black belt, black pants, and black shoes. I used to wonder why. And also the Orthodox Jews in my neighborhood when I was coming up, they always wore black. I just wonder why. Now, a lot of people will say, well, they wore black because of Saturn. That's true. She has been imaged as intensely black, her bosom bare, crowned with a golden pyramid about which twined an immense serpent. Of course, she's also called the serpent woman. So if she's a serpent woman, y'all, let me just drop this. That means her heirs would be what? Serpent people. Mistakenly referred to as reptilians. That's my opinion. Because remember, well, we'll get into this a little bit later. Uh, a serpent is a reptile. These reptilians are today, well, I guess since the 90s, have been presented as these quote unquote godlike creatures that control planet Earth, the people in power. It's my opinion that that's not true. The serpent people would be the autochthonous people, the autochthonous Sabian Moors. And they just made up the whole reptilian thing. Okay, the same way they made up other gods to what? To disempower you, to make you feel like there's nothing you can do because these reptilians are superhuman and they come from outer space. So what can you do? You're already shot, messed up in religion, right? You already think very little of yourself. You already don't know how to uh, activate and use the full power of your mind. So by giving you this mythology about the reptilians, and y'all believe it, well, there's no reason for you to try to help yourself. You just sit back and let it all happen to you like a sheep being led to the slaughter. All right? It's a mind game. Okay? Actually, everything that they're doing is a mind game. All right? And they create the events to convince you that it's true. Okay? They keep on giving you evidence that it's true. Anyway, let's continue. Her bosom bare, crowned with a golden pyramid, about which twined an immense snake, a serpent. Night and darkness belong as symbols to very great antiquity. This very great antiquity is Sabian time, going back to the time before solar time. So before 4,590 or 4,560 BC, when Pharaoh Menes overthrew, well, it was during Pharaoh Menes' time when the Osirians overthrew what they're calling the Sut Typhonians. And then they changed the paradigm. All right, y'all. But anyway, let me go back to it. Listen to what it says here. A superabundance of darkness metaphysically is light. Remember, we're talking about the rainbow, y'all. A rainbow is reflected light, right? From the sun. Darkness adopted illumination in order to make itself visible. So, in other words, you wouldn't know that there's darkness unless there's the other extreme, right? So, we would have these sensory organs called eyes so that we could see the darkness. Okay, but the darkness is not the absence of light. The darkness is the underlying principles that govern consciousness or consciousness itself. So, for example, if you close your eyes, you don't see any sunlight, you don't see any artificial light like these terrible bright fluorescent white lights that are completely unhealthy for you. You don't see them, yet in your mind's eye, in your mind's eye, you can see. Not only can you see, but you can solve problems and bend or curve reality. You can produce your own reality in the darkness. In the darkness. Y'all get it? This is the workshop of the mind. Let's continue. Out from the boundless abyss of darkness. So this would be space, and I would take it further. I would say consciousness, okay? Acted upon by divine power, consciousness, the Hermetic law of mentalism, came the holy light. This would be the what, y'all? The sunlight. Holy simply means shiny. And synonyms related to shiny, okay? Or synonyms for shiny. Paracelsus called the sidereal light, the astral light, the reflection of the great Immaculate Mother, to whom the name of the astral light had been given. Now, this is what I want to get to. Let's look at the footnote for astral light. Light derived from the stars. A star is a fire in the sky, as our ancestors called them. Light derived from the stars, fires in the sky, or what, y'all? SUN, suns. Light derived from the suns, SUNS. A light only perceived psychically takes us right back to consciousness. The light perceived through consciousness, the Hermetic law of mentalism. Does everyone see the connection here? Let's continue. Okay, so the astral light, the reflection of the great Immaculate Mother, to whom the name the astral light had been given, a name never given to the Father or the fatherless son of the Immaculate Mother. That would be any of the solar deity uh, sons, Buddha, Mithra, Jesus, so on and so forth, who was placed on the physical plane as the lowest of the manifestations. Y'all heard? Now, let's continue. Let me see if I can find another one. Well, y'all, y'all go search for yourself because I want to go back to the topic. Otherwise, I'm going to be on this same paragraph for the whole live stream. So let's go back. Oh, do I have it? I hope I have it. I don't have it. I don't have it. Hold on. Okay, y'all. So let's go back to page is this? Page 5 in the astrology of the Old Testament. Now remember, we're talking about Abram, who, which is Abram, right? Abram, Abram. First paragraph on page 5. It is the due east or gate of gold. Why is it the gate of gold? Well, let's go back up a couple of lines. But in ancient times was lying in the quote unquote arms of Osiris and the quote unquote bosom of Abram, or the due east. Here it is, or original place of the birth of light, waiting for the dawn. And that part of the heavens is the first degrees of Aries, the ram, and signifies the right ascension of meridian. So Aries is the first zodiac sign. The gate of gold, the east gate. It is due east. Okay, y'all? So it is the due east or gate of gold. Or capital O-R, from Orient. They classified the constellations and ascertained their true positions. Talking about the 12 constellations that make up the solar zodiac. And found that all things from the beginning to the end of time were written in the heavens. From the beginning of solar time is what they're talking about. From the beginning of solar time. They're not talking about Sabian time. See, their main objective is to erase Sabian time, the circumpolar zodiac, so that you never understand it, so that you never know that it exists. I didn't say existed, I said exists. They're hiding this from you. All right? And that our SU and sun was the grand center of our system. And then they're quoting a scripture, Psalms 19, 1 through 6. Now, let me go back and deal with this. C.M. Bay says that the more who is civilly dead or who is in a dead state, remember, we're dealing with consciousness, who is in a dead state. Everyone see that? Who is in a dead state, he's lying on his side or on his back with his head in the east gate. The east gate is Aries, the birthplace of light, of sunlight. In other words, when the Solarites came into power, they made Aries the first zodiac sign. All right? It is the arm, hold on. It is the bosom of Abraham. The bosom, the east gate is the bosom of Abraham. Okay, it is due east. When the Moor, according to C.M. Bay, when the Moor is lying in a dead state, his head are in the east. That's Aries, the ram, which is the solar zodiac, the first zodiac sign of the solar zodiac. Y'all got that? That means his consciousness, his mindset is solar. He has a solar mindset. He perceives the world, he perceives the world according to solar time and solar reality. And the solar religions, therefore, he is dead. He is civilly dead. Okay? He's asleep consciously. Does everyone see that? This is C.M. Bay, Clock of Destiny, page 36 or 38, 37, somewhere around there. Okay, y'all? C.M. Bay says his feet are lying in Libra, which is the West Gate, which are the scales of justice. Libra, the scales, which is Ma'at. So this Moor, who is lying in a dead state, ain't no good to nobody, including himself, who is involved in religion, who is involved in the solar zodiac, has been weighed in the scales and found wanting. And therefore, nature, by means of the Hermetic law of cause and effect, sends that Moor, that denationalized Moor, that felon, according to Deuteronomy chapter 28, that felon gives him or her experiences that are painful, that are meant to wake that person up, to cause that person to return, let's just say repent and turn back to the mindset of his or her ancient foremothers and forefathers, which is Sabian time and Sabian reality. Okay, to quit being a solarite and return to that mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, Sabian, the circumpolar zodiac. All right, y'all? When the man or woman, when the Moor stands up, see, now he's lying down, he's civilly dead, he's been dispossessed of his birthright, denied due process of law, everything else, everything that we experience, no matter where we are on the planet. When he stands up, according to C.M. Bay, he's now perpendicular to the Moor lying in the dead state, this horizontal line. Okay, so if we look at this in another sense, so we have the east gate and the west gate, we have the equinoctial line. Okay, y'all? We look at it this way, the more standing up, now we have north and south, or the solstitial line, we have the cardinal points. Do y'all see it? We have the four cardinal points. When we put these lines together, we have what? The squared circle, the 90 degrees, the 90-degree angles. Our ancestors drew a boundary around that which is boundless. Okay, from the north and the south pole, and also at the north, a circle around which the thigh of the Great Bear and the other constellations revolve, which created time. That's how they created time. Okay, y'all? So let's go back. So the more now is standing up perpendicular at a 90-degree angle to his former position while he is asleep. He's standing on his square, right? He's standing on the square. There's a square. The 90-degree angle. Do y'all see it? The 90-degree angle. All right. His head becomes the North Pole. His head represents the North Gate, the North Celestial Pole. Do y'all see it? This is the Sabian reckoning of time and reality. Celestial time cycles and natural phenomena. The entirety of it, not just limited to earthly time cycles, as is the case in the solar zodiac. Okay? So the Sabian time and celestial cycles are all cycles throughout the entire universe. And his feet represent the South Celestial Pole. What's the South Celestial Pole? Soot the dog star is in the South Celestial Pole. And the South Celestial Pole represents principles. So for the autochthonous Moors, those principles are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And you can redenominate it as don't steal or don't injure anyone, don't harm anyone. Do y'all see the relationship between those and the Ten Commandments? Everybody see that? This is natural law. This is natural law. All right? Next paragraph. Among the glories of capital God, none so gave forth the glory of the Father. So this is solar rights, solar time, as the SUN Son. None so gave forth the glory. This is the shininess, right? The brilliance of the Father. The Father has no place of preeminence in terms of producing, forming, creating under solar time. None gave forth the glory of the Father as the SUN Son, perfect in circle, exact in movement, a governor over all the others. See, your solar deities, a light shining in the darkness. And listen, y'all, and the darkness comprehended it not. The perfect measurement of all time. See, they're replacing celestial time, time reckoned by the stars. Okay? They're saying that time reckoned by the stars is imperfect. You got to get rid of it. Now we're going to reckon time just by the SUN Sun. Do y'all see it? Use your common sense. Simple logic. Sabian time, celestial time, existed for hundreds of thousands, millions, billions, an unquantifiable, undeterminable amount of time before the solar zodiac, before the solar reckoning of time ever came into existence, which was around 4,590 BC. So you mean to tell me for all of those hundreds of thousands, millions, billions, or even more trillions, or however long, nobody knows, that we kept time by the stars? All of a sudden, 6,000 years ago, somebody says, oh, celestial time is wrong. No, 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 I don't think so. That's BS. Okay? That's BS. That's an excuse and alibi to rob and steal. All right, y'all? But listen, perfect in circle, talking about the SUN sun, exact in movement, a governor of all the others. In other words, it's the source of authority. Okay? Your solar gods, a light shining in the darkness. Now, let's go back to the celestial ship of the north. Page 9. At Sias, that's a place in Kemet, she was bespangled. This is the great mother typhoon. She was bespangled with stars. Stars are fires in the heavens, or sun suns. So she was built with suns, represented as, right, y'all? And there, the great mother typhoon gave her mystic message, quote unquote, I am. Ah, I am. Y'all see that the origin of the tetragrammaton I am traces back to the Great Mother. Tetragrammaton is nothing but a cheap knockoff remix of the Great Mother Typhoon, feminine in its origin, the tetragrammaton. See, I am. The tetragrammaton says what in Exodus 3? I am. Here's what the Great Mother says: I am all that is, that's now, that's the present. I am all that hath been, that's the past. I am all that will ever be, that's the future. And my veil no mortal have drawn aside. The fruit that I brought forth was the sun sun. Huh? The fruit that I brought forth was the sun sun. Do y'all see that? So now the light is shining in the darkness. A light shining in the darkness. And the darkness comprehended it not. A light shining in the darkness. The celestial darkness, right? In the heavens. A light shining in the celestial darkness in space. Fires in the sky, sun suns. And the darkness and the orthogonous more lying on his side with his head in Aries, the east gate, and his feet in the west gate, perceived it not. Do y'all understand? The more who is in a solar mindset, be it the solar zodiac and or the solar religion, does not comprehend the great mother in Sabian time. A light shining in the darkness, and the darkness, this darkness, you autochthonous Moors, your mindset, and the darkness comprehended it not. You're not supposed to be in the solar zodiac and the solar religions, but you don't comprehend it. This is why great men like the Prophet Noble Drew Ali told us to return to the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. But we still, as a majority, comprehend it not. The light shining in the darkness, and the darkness comprehending it not. Darkness is consciousness. Consciousness, your mind does not perceive it. Mark chapter 4, verse 12. Let me see if I can pull it up. If y'all, scholars, if you have learned something, like and share the video and subscribe, okay? Help get this message out to others. Don't leave it on my shoulders alone. I'm doing my part by giving you the information least you can do if you've learned something or if you've been here more than 5 minutes. Like, share the video, and subscribe, okay? That will help the video get to more people, all right? Give me 1 second, y'all. Uh, all right, Bible Hub. So Mark chapter 4, verse 12, Bible Hub. I've done this before. If y'all want more on this, I've done this before in other videos. You just have to search for them. Okay, New International Version. So that they may be seeing but never perceiving, and ever hearing but never understanding. Otherwise, they might turn and be forgiven. In other words, you might repent, turn around, and return to the mindset of your ancient foremothers and forefathers, which is Sabian time and Sabian reality. Okay, y'all, there is no external deity. YHWH is a cheap knockoff, a remix, or what's the word? How to does not exist. There's a word that I want. It's a word of art. It's a caricature of the great mother typhoon. All of the solar messiah figures are cheap knockoffs of the sun, the dog star in the south. They don't exist. Let's continue. Perfect in circle, exact in movement, a governor over all the others, a light shining in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. New Living Translation. So the scripture might, this is JC, the solar deity, the Messiah figure speaking, so that the scriptures may be fulfilled. When they see what I do, they will learn nothing. How many years y'all been in the church? How many years have y'all been in the solar zodiac? When they hear what I say, they will not understand. Otherwise, meaning if they see what I do and learn from what I do, When they hear what I hear and they understand what they heard, they will turn to me and be forgiven. Huh? So, what is this telling us, y'all? This is showing us in your God spell, which happens to be 4 books representing the 4 cardinal points. Okay? And the 4, do y'all see that? The tie cross and the traditional cross. Okay? Same 4 cardinal points. Okay, y'all? With the cherubim, with the cherubim in each square. And who's in the middle? The deity, the most high in the middle. In other words, the central sun in the middle. All right? The cherubim etymologically are serpents. Are serpents. Are serpents. Otherwise, they will turn to me and be forgiven. In other words, you will abandon the solar right mentality altogether and be forgiven. And if you're forgiven, Deuteronomy chapter 30, you get your birthright back. Deuteronomy 28. English Standard Version. So that they may indeed see but not perceive, and the darkness comprehending it not, and ever hearing but never understanding. Otherwise, they might turn and be forgiven. KJV, King James. That seeing they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand. Well, wait, your primary sensory organ that you have to navigate and understand your environment are your eyes. The second, your ears. JC took both of those away from you. He took them both away from you, meaning you're defenseless. Who does he do it through? Well, there's actually no JC, but who's doing this? The priesthood, the dark priesthood, the ecclesiastical class is disabling you so they can keep you in a debtor status, keep you in the curses, Deuteronomy chapter 28, and keep robbing you of your birthright, which would include due process of law. All right, y'all, let's continue. KJV, seeing that they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest they should turn and their sins be forgiven them. So JC is clearly telling you he wants you to burn in hell, or he wants you to die forever. He doesn't want you to go to heaven, and he doesn't want you to go in some religions say there's going to be a kingdom on earth. He doesn't want that. Okay, otherwise they might return, otherwise they might repent, and it would be forgiven them. See, if you're forgiven, you are what? Saved. You make it into the kingdom, you make it into heaven. JC is saying he doesn't want you to do that. All right? Amplified Bible. Mark chapter 4, verse 12. So that they will continually look, and this is one of the main goals of Christian doctrine, keep you searching. For example, you're searching for the Messiah's name. You're searching for the proper pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton. You're searching for the proper pronunciation of JC's name. You're searching for the location of the promised land. And you fight, you debate, and you argue and make enemies and break the law over these issues. Huh? Is it true or is it not true? You're constantly searching, never finding. Amplified Bible, so that they will continually look but not see. And they will continually hear but not understand. See, you can see the truth, but you won't know it. You won't perceive it. You can hear the truth, like you hear me talking right now. You won't know it. This is JC's intent, his purpose. Otherwise, according to JC, in other words, if you could see and understand, if you could hear, if you could see and perceive it, you know what you're looking at. If you could hear and understand, then you could what? Repent and be forgiven. So the historical Jesus wants to keep you in the curses or civilly in bondage, civilly a debtor, a serf under a feudal system. Do y'all see it? Anyway, that's enough for that. So Abraham, East Gate, Aries. Moses coming out of the mountain with the horns, okay, in his head. Where is that? What page is that? Okay, I don't remember the page right now. It'll come back to me. But let's just finish this up with, since I mentioned the cherubim. Let's go back to page 5. Okay? We're going to continue with the last paragraph. Perfect in circle, exacting movement, a governor over all others. Talking about the other planets, etc. A light shining in the darkness. By the way, the planets are, if I remember correctly, yeah, the planets are the 7 stars. The 7 stars were turned into planets and then also gods. The 7 stars that make up the thigh of the great bear, today called the Big Dipper. Y'all heard? Okay. Now let's continue. The perfect measure of all time, whose angles make the hours. Okay, so the sun, remember the sun rises above the horizon in the east, right? It reaches its highest level at noon, the zenith. Then about 6 p.m., it starts to fall. Okay, so that arc is a letter U, a bow, also. Okay, y'all? And you can measure time, 24-hour time by the sun, whose angles make the hours, who moved not from his center between the cherubim. Y'all see that? So, y'all see it? The center, the intersecting line, where both of my arms are, that represents the sun, represented as a circle with the black dot. The black dot is the sun behind the sun. So if you can imagine, let's say my shirt is the sun. Let's say my shirt is the sun, okay? let's say my shirt is, I don't want to open it, but imagine I open my shirt, okay? That opening of my shirt is that light coming out from the darkness that we perceive as fires in the sky, as the sun. Y'all got it? Let's continue. Whose angles make the hours, who moved not from his center between the cherubim, viz. The four beasts, Ezekiel chapter 4, I think is Revelation chapter 4, which had the head of a bull, Taurus the bull. And Taurus the bull was a zodiac sign when the Solarites took over. That's why everything picks up with them at the zodiacal age of Taurus. All right. The head of a lion, which is Leo the lion. The head of an eagle, which is Scorpio. And the head of a man, which is Aquarius. So everyone got that? All right. So here's the information about the Ta cross, which in the Greek is Tau, T-A-U. Y'all see the X? So everybody, y'all can get this yourself. Pause the video on the replay. So let me show you. This is the paragraph I just read on page 5. All right, y'all. I think that's all I want to say about Abraham. Well, there's more actually, but should we go into this? Hold on. Let me give me 1 second, y'all. Yeah, we have to. So this is chapter 2, Roman numeral 2. Okay, so the two Roman numeral 2 represent the two pillars in the solar zodiac, the vernal or spring equinox, the east gate, approximately March 22nd, and the west gate, which is Libra, which is approximately September 22nd, 2122. Okay, y'all? So we have the two pillars representing in the east the covenant of labor. The covenant of labor, the Moor who's civilly dead in a dead state is lying down on his side or on his back with his head in the east, his mindset in the solar religions. Oh, he's in the covenant of labor. No birthright. He needs to work with the sweat of his brow. Okay, y'all? No birthright. Whereas covenant, whereas the fall covenant, the covenant in the West, is the covenant of grace. Okay, full possession and enjoyment of your birthright. Okay, y'all? And this correlates to the Sphinx. They said the Sphinx is approximately, lately, they're saying it's approximately 25,000 years old or older. Okay? And what they're saying, listen, this is the story. Before before this age came out, they said that the Sphinx body is a lion and its head is Virgo, and it represents a time when the zodiac started with Virgo. So the zodiacal age of Virgo was the first zodiac sign, beginning of the natural year for them, I guess, or however they did it. But Virgo would have been the first zodiac sign, and it ended with Leo. Okay, and by the way, 25,000 years ago, well, let me rephrase that. Virgo used to be Virgo Scorpio. And then at the fall of man, Libra came in. Libra was introduced, or the constellation Libra somehow came in between the constellation Virgo and Scorpio, and this reconciled Aries. And that's a story we covered that maybe 2 or 3 videos ago. But the Solarites came into power only around 4,560 or 90 BC, maybe 6,000 or more years ago, less than 7,000 years ago. But the Sphinx is supposed to be at least 25,000 years old. Before that, they were saying the Sphinx was somewhere around 3,500, 4,000 years old. Well, that would have made sense, right? Because you had the solar zodiac at that time. But it doesn't make sense if you look 25,000 years ago because it didn't exist. The solar zodiac with the 12 constellations did not exist 25,000 years ago. So, at best, we can say that the head of the Sphinx would represent, celestially, would represent the Great Mother Typhoon. What does the back represent? I don't know yet, but I'm sure it has nothing to do with the solar zodiac. All right, if indeed it's 25,000 years old or more. Now, chapter 2, disclosure of the searchlight. Let me show y'all this before I read it. Oh, isn't this something? Let me show y'all this. I didn't look, or maybe I saw it out of the side of the. Maybe I saw it in my peripheral vision. But this is talking about the Sphinx. I'm not going to go into it, y'all, because I kind of want to get through this. But I don't. I don't. I want to give you a good foundation before I move on. So y'all can study this. That has to do with the Sphinx and the Ta. And here, page 8 and 9. 8 and 9 is 72. Isn't that interesting? 8 and 9, 8 times 9 is 72. 72 is a big part of what we're talking about in this lesson, right? The generations of Moses, the 10 generations, right? So y'all pause this, pause it on the replay. Okay, y'all. You can learn more about the Sphinx there. So let's get into it. We're dealing with Abraham, the covenant, okay? So here we go. We are told in the Bible that greatest of all astrological works that Abram or Abram, Abraam, i.e., a Brahmin, came from the east, the east gate, and being conversant with the languages of the different peoples, came to Egypt, taught them astrology or the worship of the true God. What is this saying? This is saying that Abraham came teaching the solar religion, the Solarite religion. Why? How can I say that? It's obvious that he didn't come teaching astrology because the Kemetic people were versed in astrology hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years old. right? We're talking about Sabian time. And it says that he came what? He came teaching the worship of the true God, the worship of an external deity. That's how we know. Okay, y'all? Josephus is our authority that he brought astrology. So, what did he bring? What astrology? Maybe they're talking about the solar right astrology, the current zodiac. Or maybe it's a lie. Jeremiah 8:8, because after all, it's coming from Josephus, and Josephus lied. Watch the video that I have on the homepage, that we have on the homepage of this YouTube channel. You'll see Josephus lied. Big, big, huge lies. And it's not just us making assertions, but you'll see the evidence of it. Okay, this is a video I did with Sonetta. Um, it's called All Abrahamic Religions Are a Fraud or a Hoax or something like that. Okay, y'all watch that. Now, this Abram, or rather Abram, Abram, was accompanied by Sarah, his wife. This was from an insertion of the Tau cross. Now, this is the Tau cross, okay, by the Greeks. You will find that his name was altered to Abraham. So Abram, his name was changed to Abraham. This was from the insertion of the Ta cross of the Egyptians. Y'all got that? To represent the movement of the SUN sun, see, solar. So we're within that 6,500 to less than 7,000 years, okay? To represent the movement of the SUN sun north and south of the equator, or what is called its northern and southern declination or ecliptic. So, what is this saying? So, here's the east and here's the west. So, March 21 or so, the SUN sun will what? Ascend northerly, northward. It'll continue ascending until June 22nd, where it reaches its highest elevation, which is a summer solstice around June 22nd. Then it's going to continue moving, but it's going to fall. The SUN sun falls and it crosses below. In other words, Christ is crucified, it crosses below the celestial equator around September 21, September 22. So at the highest point in the sky, at the summer solstice, the SUN sun takes on the title of the Christ. So this arc, this royal arc, is in the shape of a letter U, or the shape of a bow, Okay, y'all? So now, if it goes, when the sun goes fully around, it is a circle. It's making a circle. Y'all got it? Everybody see that? Let's continue. And here's how that's well. It says, thus the Tau, and by reversing this, it gives. Let me show y'all. So they're showing the Tau here. They're showing the Tau here as a letter I. And when you reverse it, you get what? The letter H. So the horizontal line, y'all, would be the equinoctial line, and the two vertical lines represent the sun passing over the equinoctial line on the spring equinox, which is the vernal equinox, and the other vertical line represents the sun falling below or moving southerly, Christ being crucified, the sun falling below the equinoctial line in the fall, sometime around September 21, September 22. Y'all see that? So we have the two pillars. Okay, everybody see? The two pillars. The covenant of labor, the covenant of work, toil, no birthright, bondage, and the covenant of grace, full possession of the birthright. Everybody see it? He continues. Now, all of this has to do with the SUN sun reckoning of time and reality. So, Ab, the original ram, or due east point, the Orient, the East Gate, y'all, right? The East Gate that we talked about earlier, or origin of all light, or Bram, or Brahm, Braam, or Brahm of the Sanskrit. Y'all go look up the meaning of Semite in Sanskrit. Watch that video I recommended to you earlier. By disguising, Jeremiah 8:8, by disguising its true meaning and mystifying, Mark chapter 4, verse 12. The multitude, by inserting at the proper place this tau that looks like an H, converted, listen, y'all, converted Abram, Abraham, into Abraham, AB hyphen RA hyphen HAM, or Ab, the first original Ra, the sun god Ra of the Osirians, who conquered by war and birthright theft their own blood the ancient Typhonians, or the ancient Sabian Moors, who kept the mindset of their ancient foremothers and forefathers. Okay, these followers of Ra, the Osirians, conquered them and stole all their property, stole their birthright. Let's continue. Ra, the Father, or SUN, God, Ra becomes the generator, which is a cheap knockoff, of the celestial mother, who is the producer, the celestial womb. See, Ra, they made it masculine. Why did they make it masculine? Because here's the trick that they did. They used the Hermetic law of polarity. They just used the extreme opposite. So if you apply this principle, you can figure a lot of stuff out. This is the scheme, one of the master keys. So the Great Mother is feminine, so they make their deity masculine. But YHWH was originally feminine. Y'all got it? So Ra, the Father, or SUN, Sun God. So the Great Mother Typhoon is intensely black. What's the opposite? Light. The Great Mother Typhoon made the sun. So now they're saying the sun is God. It's the extreme opposite. Law of polarity, Hermetic law of polarity. Okay, y'all, this is a master key to understanding. Let's continue. Y'all. Listen to this. Ra, the Father, or SUN, Sun God, and Ham, who is Cam, and these Solarites replace the K and Cam, Kim, Kim is Cam, Cam is Kim. They replaced the K in Kim with an S and got Semites. And Ham, the Egyptian founder. Y'all see how they just hijacked our history by paper genocide? Y'all see it? Let me read it again. Let me point this out to you. This is the Tau cross. Now, they reversed it, turned it on its side, and now it's a letter H. Do y'all see it? Representing the covenant of grace and the covenant of labor, or the vernal and fall equinox. Now, look at the word Abraham. They just inserted the H into Abram. They inserted the H. Okay? So now Abram is solar here. We see the two covenants in Abraham's name, represented by the H. Okay, y'all? So remember, his name was initially Abram or Abram, okay, which could have been pronounced Abram, okay? A Brahmin, it says, i.e., a Brahmin who came from the east. All right, y'all? You will also find that his name was altered to Abraham. Let's continue. Thus, also the name of Sarah, or bitter waters, or salt water, or ocean. See, this is talking about the celestial abyss, y'all, referencing back to the Great Mother Typhoon and the celestial ship of the north. Okay? Masculine and feminine energy, the Hermetic law of gender. Two extreme opposite ends of the same line. Also, the name Sarah, or bitter waters, or salt water, or the ocean, was changed to Sarah. So it was changed from Sara to Sarah. And you'll see Ra and Sarah. And you also see the H representing the two covenants, or the two covenants, the spring and the fall equinoxes. Okay, y'all? Do y'all see that? Everybody see it? So let me show this page. Y'all pause this on the replay so you can study this page. All right, so you won't have any questions. So let me continue. All right. Thus also the name of Sarah was changed to Sarah with an H at the end by adding the moon's movement, or the lunar serpent, after the same manner. By adding the moon's movement, or the lunar serpent, after the same manner. And so Ra, the father, and Mut, M-O-T, the mother, masculine and feminine energy, or the S-U-N, sun, and the moon. So y'all know the moon is also tracing back to the great mother, the queen of the heavens. Afterwards, called Osiris and Isis. Afterward. Afterward. So The Osirians had conquered the Typhonians. They dominated the world with solar time and reality. Then after Mut and the SUN sun are called Osiris and Isis, or Isis, Esses. Y'all already know where Isis is going. And Isis became their son, Son, Isaac. And Isis, Esses, became with their son Isaac, or Isaac, a star. The deities of Egypt. So that's got to be Horus, right? And these three lights, the central sun, moon, and star, became the teachers of all wisdom and enlightenment. In other words, these are the original 3 degrees of masonry in the solar zodiac system. Okay, y'all? Or let me restate that. All of the solar doctrine regarding the Father, the Son, uh, and the Mother will trace back to either the SUN sun, the moon, and the star, those 3 degrees. Okay? Or let me say it differently. They'll trace back to Osiris, Isis, and Horus. Okay? These are all the same. Same deities. Okay, y'all? These priests of the sun were the true exponents of the only reasonable religion, the solar religions, and the true teachers of the mysteries of Isis and her infant son Horus, even as Osiris, Isis, and Horus to this day are the father, in parentheses it says sire, and if my memory serves me correctly, this is where we get sir today. The crescent moon, which rules over the tides of the sea, or Mer, M-E with the apostrophe, with the asterisk, with an accent, M with the E accent, and then R, Mer, or Mere, M-E-R-E, or pure, clean ocean. So that's a straight knockoff of the Great Mother and the Celestial Abyss, right? The Great Mother in the Celestial Abyss. The boundless abyss is the celestial sea, the celestial ocean. Okay, y'all? All right, which rules over, so the moon, which rules over the tides of the sea, which is or mere or mer or pure, clean ocean. The bitter salt water, virgin impurity. Okay, so the moon, y'all take a look at the crescent moon. The crescent moon is clearly tracing back to the celestial ship of the north, the crescent moon, the queen of the heaven. So let me show you. Do y'all see it? You see, if we turn the moon over, it becomes a ship. Hold on. It becomes a ship. Do y'all see it? Becomes a ship. So let me show you. Oh boy, how long have we been going? 2 hours. So let me show you the celestial ship of the north. It might be easier to Google search. Let me Google search it. It's faster if I Google search it. Okay, so this is the celestial ship of the north on the cover of the original book. So there's your crescent moon. Do y'all see it? So it's all tracing back. And of course, the sun, I already explained the sun. Okay, y'all? Everybody see that? Now let's continue. Okay, so so the bitter salt water, virgin impurity, this is the great mother typhoon, and can never be defiled because of its immensity. This is the great abyss, the celestial abyss, therefore always a virgin. She is the virgin mut, M-O-T, mother, the virgin mother. Do y'all see it? Or mirror, or virgin Mary, angelicized. And Horus or Mercury. Horus becomes planetary as Mercury. The planet which is always nearest the sun. See, Horus, oh, the son of Osiris, and the Holy Spirit, Isis, in the bosom of his father, meaning closest, the planet that's closest to the sun. And Horus or Mercury, the planet which is always nearest the sun, whose movement is very rapid, whose chief sign or house is the sign of Virgo, right? Mother and son has to be, and son. The great mother typhoon and sun, her son, Soot the dog star, all right? I.e., the Virgo or the Virgin, who is Mercury, the planet that rules, listen, y'all, that rules exchange, buying and selling, okay, bartering, merchandise, commerce, all mediums of exchange between country and country, a go between, a messenger or messiah, a mediator who is so overfilled with the glory of the sun. Why? Well, because Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. So it's getting more sunlight. Mercury is a messenger who is so overfilled with the glory of the sun. Remember, glory just means brilliance, brightness, solar energy. That Mercury is only at twilight and early dawn to be perceptible. Okay, so in other words, you can only see it when the sun is about to go down and when the sun is about to come up, because the brightness of the sun blocks your vision, or overcomes its brightness so that you can't see it, except for right before the sun comes up and right before the sun goes down. All right. Because Mercury is so overfilled with solar energy, because it's the closest planet to the sun, and truly dwelleth in the bosom of the Father, or the ruler of our system. Okay, so the SUN sun becomes the ruler of everything in the solar zodiac and the solar religions, which were made directly from the solar religions by the solar zodiac crew, by the Osirians and the um, Ammonites, or the Ammonians, okay, the Amun Ra squad. All right, and this Horus is the measurer and is the infant SUN sun or sun. The infant SUN sun or SON sun. We know that those are synonymous terms, right? These then, these then are the three great lights: Mercury, wisdom, So Mercury is wisdom, the SU and Sun, which is strength, okay, because it's the ruler, and Moon, which is beauty. These are the three great pillars of Freemasonry: Mercury, the SU and Sun, and the Moon. So, what are the Sabian pillars of Freemasonry? The Great Mother Typhoon and her son Soot the Dog Star. Okay? Because you have to remember, Mercury is a planet. Mercury is Soot in planetary form. Wisdom is the SU and Sun, and the Sun is the Father, YHWH, and the Sun, the Father, YHWH, is another cheap remix of the Great Mother Typhoon. And then we have the Moon, Mut, who later becomes Isis. But of course, we know Isis is also a representation of the Great Mother Typhoon. So instead of 3 degrees, as in solar masonry, Sabian time has 2 degrees. The Great Mother Typhoon and her son Soot the Dog Star. All right. And Soot is represented by the tail of the Great Bear, or Ursa Major, today called the Big Dipper. Okay, y'all? Freemasonry, corrupted by Roman Catholics, this is Solarite religion, has lost its ancient landmarks and been carried into captivity, and were it not for its oaths and allegiance would be sunk in ignorance. Y'all, this book was written in 1892. There can be no more than 3 degrees to masonry. 3 degrees in the solar zodiac, 2 degrees in the circumpolar zodiac, according to the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. Sabian time and reality. Okay? 2 degrees. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. He continues. All else, in other words, the other 30 degrees of masonry, all else are spurious and purposely invented by Catholicism to create decision and dissatisfaction, divide and conquer. The three first and only true degrees of masonry are universal. And when given under Hebraic rites, now you understand. When given under Hebraic rites, why? Because Hebraic, he's talking about the bloodline house of Yasharallah, or Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, the autochthonous Moors or Sabian Moors, the original peoples of the planet. And when given under Hebraic rites, I'm going to replace that with Sabian rites, include all there is in the entire 33 degrees of so-called masonry. Masonry that debars, kicks someone out, anyone on account of his religion is not masonry. But guess what, y'all? This religion is talking about solar gods, external gods. Religion for the Sabians would be a drawing back to one's self, knowing that you are nature and that you are consciousness. You are thought made manifest from the soil, and you reckon time and reality celestially. Circle 7, clock of destiny. Natural law, don't steal or don't injure anyone. In other words, don't commit crimes. Masonry that enjoins an obligation to support the Virgin Mary is a fraud and no masonry. Masonry, not instituted by the ancient people, that is the ancient Sabian Moors, is worthless and of no account. The SUN, sun, moon, and star are the three lights. Now remember, we're not interested in light. We're not interested in sunlight. We're interested in the darkness. We're interested in the darkness and consciousness. Consciousness, being in harmony with consciousness. In other words, perfectly reflecting consciousness, perfectly reflecting that. What does this mean? It means that you acknowledge that you are consciousness, that you acknowledge and you use your power to consciously or to willfully use consciousness to solve your problems and create your reality. Why? Because you are consciousness. So, in other words, you are being yourself. You are being yourself when you are harmonic, rhythmically in line, when you are functioning at the same brain vibration, brainwave vibration as consciousness, left, right brain hemisphere working together, harmonically together at approximately 10 cycles per second. See, that's where you're operating from. This is the workshop of the mind. When you accept that and you use it willfully, consciously, 24 hours a day, huh? That's what we're interested in, the darkness. The darkness is consciousness. We have the ability to produce light. How do we produce the light? Well, we get it from the darkness. That's how. And we act on it. We teach it. That's the light. That's the wisdom. It's in the darkness. All right? Darkness made light. So that let me read that again and then we're going to wrap it up. Page 9 of the Celestial Ship of the North, Volume 1. A superabundance of darkness metaphysically is light. Darkness adopted illumination in order to make itself visible. Bam. Y'all probably getting tired of me if you follow my word, reading the same stuff over and over. Page 14, 1 and 4 is 5. Footnote number 2. The Egyptians, the Hamites, the Kemites, Cam, Ham, Kim, replace the K with an S, you get Semites. The Egyptians symbolically named capital God the quote unquote ancient darkness. Of this darkness, H.P. Blavatsky writes, quote unquote, darkness is the root of light. Light is matter. E equals MC squared, y'all. See, light, when you become aware of it, becomes what? Particles. Darkness is pure spirit. Darkness, metaphysically, is absolute light. Light is merely a mass of shadows. How about that? Light is a reflection. Light is shadows. Light is merely a mass of shadows. as it can never be eternal. Okay, so the shadow will what? Pass away, right? The shadow is going to pass away because why? The sun is moving. Light is not eternal. So therefore, your son, God, is not eternal. Therefore, in the cosmology, in the astrology and astrotheology, what do they say? They say that the Father loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten son so that everybody else can be saved, or so for the Israelites can be saved, depending on your doctrine, how you look at that. So, what is it saying? It's saying that the SUN sun will eventually burn up all of its energy. Why? Because the sun is giving its light, its life on behalf of the world. And eventually it will burn out. This is what it's saying. Now you understand why it's saying that. Because light is not eternal, it can never be eternal. And it's simply an illusion or Maya. Why? Because as I said, our ancestors said this. What we perceive as the sun, you can imagine it's just a rip or a pinhole. Let's say my shirt. Okay. Imagine there's a pinhole rip and we perceive it as light. Okay, y'all? Or if I have a hole in my shirt and light is beaming out, we perceive that light beaming out as the SUN sun. Okay, but it is not that at all. It's just the sun behind the sun. Okay, or the light shining forth out of the darkness that you perceive as a sun. Y'all got it? All right. Hold on, y'all. So I hope everyone learns something. If you learn something, like and share the video. Uh, Subscribe. It'll really help. And go to YouTube. If you want to do something for me, go to YouTube and like and share the video, and also subscribe on YouTube because it'll get this information out to more people. Okay. Let me read this last paragraph on page 14. I want y'all to see something. The next paragraph on page, under the footnote, it reads: serpent worship, tree worship, and water worship were all feminine. The serpent slowed periodically as a feminine type, and the bearing tree with its fruit was feminine, and water was feminine, and the source of light, of life. See, that's why we see the reference. Well, not the only reason why, but that's one of the references back to Mer, Mir, the sea, salty water. Okay, the source of life. Okay, y'all. Okay, so the source of life, the mother, motherhood, antedated by eons of time. Any knowledge of a fatherhood that could have been identified as such. And among the original seven gods, later planets, before they were gods, they were what? The seven stars that make up the thigh of the Great Bear, which today is called the Big Dipper. Okay, and the second star from the handle, Mitzar, is where we come from. The celestial origin of the Sabian Moors, mistakenly called, well, not mistakenly, but deceptively called Jews today. Okay? Motherhood antedated by eons of time. Any knowledge of a fatherhood that could have been identified as such. And even among the original seven gods, later planets, there was no mention of fatherhood. Listen, the Hindu initiates, this is the next paragraph. The Hindu initiates whose vision was sublime. They had a very excellent knowledge of the stars. Recognized capital God as quote unquote the one who is all, the one who is all. This is the Hermetic law of mentalism, y'all. The universe exists in the mind of the all. This is the first Hermetic law, the Hermetic law of mentalism. The universe exists in the mind of the all. Of course, mind is consciousness. Thought is the activity of the mind. So thought that is active, let me rephrase that. Consciousness in its activity of thinking to produce an orthogonous Sabian more. That thought will travel from having its origin in Mitsar, the star Mitsar, the second handle of the Great Bear, or the handle of the Big Dipper today. That thought will travel and be birthed through the celestial womb, which are the four stars that make up the Big Dipper. That thought will then intermingle, mix with the land, with the soil, and that thought becomes flesh. Man is thought made manifest from the soil. Hence, the well established principle or maxim of law, land and law are inseparable. Mores and law are inseparable. Therefore, mores are the substance and subject matter of the law. Therefore, land is the substance and subject matter of the law. More means land, and land means more in a law dictionary. Go check it. Go check it for yourself. So we Moors are part and parcel. We are the land. So this is why religion, when you go back to its etymological meaning under Sabian time, means a drawing back to yourself. What does this mean? Leaving the solar zodiac, leaving the solar religions, and returning to self, which is consciousness, the first Hermetic law, the law of mentalism. Anyone asks you about God, these external gods? No, 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 no. What they call God, we call ancient darkness. We call ancient darkness. This is the all. Just like the Hindu says, the one who is all. What did the great mother say about herself? I am all that is. This is page 9. I am all that is. Okay? Remember, the past doesn't exist. It's a mental construct. The future doesn't exist. We only have the wonderful now. The one who is now, the one who is all consciousness. So draw back to yourself consciousness. You are thought made manifest from the soil. You are the law. You are the Elohim, erroneously called reptilian. Hold on, y'all. Okay, y'all. So where am I? Where am I? Oh, I remember. I remember. Okay, y'all. So the one who is all, ALL. You can correlate this to the Moorish appellations or titles that bind us to the land that prove our heirship. Il, the vowels are exchangeable. So all, right? The owls or alls, y'all see that? The ills, the owls, or the alls. So this is where I'm getting this from. I did not make this up. It's right here. For anyone who wants to expend the time and energy to read it. Now let me finish up with this. In that far off beginning, everything was Sabian, i.e., belonging to the stars. There was no solar zodiac. There was no reckoning time and reality by the sun sun. It was only later when Sabian, in parentheses, star, and then lunar, moon, this is where we're getting the mut from, M-U-T, mother. It was only later when Sabian and then lunar periods had made way for the solar period. In other words, the Solarites conquered the Sabians. Okay, that a male element appears. So wait a minute, y'all. Do you mean to tell me for hundreds of thousands, millions, billions, or more years that there was no male element in what they're referring to as a deity or a creator, therefore a generator? Listen, in that far off beginning, how many millions or billions of years, even if it's only 10,000, even if it's only 30,000, listen, in that far off beginning, everything was Sabian, i.e., belonging to the stars. It was only later when Sabian and then lunar periods, reckoning time by the sun, by the celestial bodies, celestial cycles rather, had made way for the solar period that the male element appears and introduces the male and female as separate deities. Y'all got that? Everybody see that? For in the beginning, all was considered in double aspect as male, female. By Jung, what is that saying? The Hermetic law of gender. Masculine at the extreme opposite end of one line, and feminine at the extreme opposite end of the other line. This was corrupted and deified to male and female gods, okay? And the superior God. This happened during Sabian time. And then the superior deity became what we call, or what is known as the Father. Now, all right, y'all? Clear as day. When at the advent of the solar period, the worship of the fatherhood in heaven became established, then time was reckoned by the sun instead of, as formerly, by the stars and the moon. A tomb in Egypt, Hea, Hea, sounds like higher, right? Hea in Assyria, and Abraham in Israel. Became the father of the gods, and the child of the mother became known as the son of the father. And y'all, just how that happens celestially makes perfect sense, but in the religious doctrine, it's crazy. It's incestuous. This individualization of the father, this bringing the father to a preeminent position, whom the people then enthroned above the ancient mother Typhoon, was acclaimed with great rejoicing. So they partied because they killed their mama. Finally, the child of both became a substitute for the mother and the father of a later period of theology. Hence, you have Jesus, who is worshipped more than the father and more than his father and his mother. Okay, y'all? I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm tired. We made it through one paragraph, but I think it was worth it. All the time we spent. So we're gonna pick it back up. Was that page? What page were we on, y'all? Was it page 158? So let me conclude by reading that paragraph again. Page 158 of the Celestial Ship of the North, Volume 1. The covenant of Abraham follows the flood, ending the first period of the 10 patriarchs. The bow, or the circle in heaven, was one witness of this covenant connected with the zodiac, and circumcision came later. All right. So, circumcision and the rainbow are witnesses or prominent things in the solar zodiac. Okay, y'all? Prominent things in the solar zodiac. We may as well read the last page of 158 so we can get off of page 158, okay? It reads here, the two lists of the names of the patriarchs that preceded the flood of Noah. The first seven, remember the sevens trace back to the thigh of the Great Bear, today called the Big Dipper. On the two lists of the names of the patriarchs, see, men, not women, y'all. Men, not women, that preceded the flood of Noah. The first seven are Adam, Cain, Hanok, Jared, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah. The second comprises Adam, Seth, Enos, Cunan, Mahalalel, Jared, Hanok, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah. These are commonly called the Elohistic and the Jehovistic, that's YHWH, records. Elohistic, Elohim, Sabian Moors, autochthonous Sabian Moors, the gods, the Titans, and are two forms of the Hebrew generations given in one of the creation legends. Okay, y'all? Of course, there's no creation. There is a recycling or a reject. Consciousness, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It is only what? Transformed. Okay, so the Great Mother is the celestial womb. The genetrix or the gynematrix, whereas the Father in celestial time becomes the generator because he cannot have a womb. Okay, unless you're uh, so they had to call him the generator because he can't have a womb. And you can get that out of the Celestial Ship of the North. It's right there for you. Um, Actually, it would be kind of cool if I ended with that. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Man, I see something else I should show. Hold on. Is it page 23, yo? Yeah, it's page 22. 2 plus 2 is 4. Huh, I didn't put that together. The four stars that make up the celestial womb, that make up the Dipper, and the Big Dipper, the thigh of the Great Bear. On page 22, 2 plus 2 is 4, is where we get the information about the genitrix, or the celestial womb, the gynecoseum, the gynoseum, rather. Here it reads, the middle paragraph. The middle paragraph. The mythology of Israel begins, as we see, with the cult of Hova, who was Eve, the Typhonian mother of Sut. So Eve is a remix of the great mother Typhoon, also called Seth. So Sut is Seth. Y'all see where this is going. You see how the defamation and degradation of the great mother and her son, Sut the dog star, the hour hand of the clock of destiny. Sut is remixed into Seth, or Set and Seth, and ultimately remixed into Satan, or Shaitan. The serpent belongs to an earlier representation of the great mother Typhoon, and followed the time when she was known by the type of the hippopotamus. Why? Because the hippopotamus, the hippo, has 4 feet, 4 legs, 4 feet. Each foot has 4 toes. Okay, the four representing the 4 stars that make up the Dipper of the Big Dipper, which is the celestial womb, and coincides with the change. Listen, and coincides with the change in Israel from the worship of the north, and coincides with the change in Israel from the mindset of the ancient foremothers and forefathers. Circle 7, clock of destiny, celestial time cycles, natural law, don't steal, which coincides with the change in Israel from the worship of the north, from reckoning time celestially and reckoning reality celestially, okay? And coincides with the change in Israel from the worship of the north and the stars, reckoning time by the stars, reckoning reality by the stars, okay? To that instituted by Moses in the wilderness. To Moses, taking them fully into the solar zodiac. To that instituted by Moses in the wilderness, when Moses destroyed when Moses destroyed the golden calf, which is the zodiac sign Taurus. It's gold because it's representing the zodiacal age of Taurus, and the sun at about 5:30, 5:45 a.m. every at the beginning of the spring equinox, around March 21st, March 22nd, for 2,160 years or so. You go outside, look to the east, you'll see the sun rising above the horizon, and you'll see Taurus, the zodiac sign Taurus, at the horizon, telling you that it's the age of Taurus, or Baal. Moses destroyed that golden calf and introduced the serpent. And the serpent represented the ecliptic. Okay? So instead of the Israelites or the house of Yasharallah say, okay, this is the zodiacal age of Taurus, and we're about to leave Taurus, go into Aries. Moses, through the event that through his actions that I just talked about with the serpent, led them 100%, 110% into the solar zodiac. Now, instead of them just dealing with that Taurus, because they were coming out of Egypt, right? As the story goes, the ecliptic, the Maserati, the ecliptic represents the apparent path of the sun as it enters, goes through, and exits out of each of the 12 zodiac signs. Okay, y'all? So this is a mistake that Moses made, according to the author, Carl Anderson, in this book. Okay? But anyway, let's keep going. And coincides with the change in Israel from the worship of the north and the stars to that instituted by Moses in the wilderness, quote unquote. And the manna fed to the children of the wilderness is, emblematic of feminine reckoning and rule. Y'all hear that? And the manna fed to the children of the wilderness, to the house of Yasharallah, is emblematic of feminine reckoning and rule, feminine reckoning of time and reality. The matriarchy, rulership, Sabian time, and the angels' food supplied by the genetrix from the gynoeceum above to the children below, the celestial womb above to the fleshly Israelites below. Man did eat angels' food. Okay, this is coming from Psalms, which was the bread of the mighty, meaning that celestial knowledge which originated at this northern point in the heavens, that celestial knowledge of the celestial ship of the north, the great mother Typhoon and her son Soot, the 2 degrees of masonry of Sabian time, the Sabian mindset, the circumpolar zodiac. The serpent became one of the special symbols of this oldest of mothers. The 2 great truths of the Egyptians were said to be written with the serpent. They were also given in the 2 characters of the gestator of the sign Pisces and the virgin of the zodiac sign Virgo, typical of gestation and maternity. She was the tree of life, as well as the serpent of life. The 2 northern constellations of the Great Bear, called the primal pair, became humanized as the parents of our race and placed in the Garden of Eden, called the Mount Zion, Mount Meru, okay, in which stood the tree or the pole. The fall was introduced when the earlier stars as timekeepers, that's the Great Bear, were found not to be keeping correct time, so that they were called laggards. That's what they call y'all niggas. Don't they call y'all niggas laggards? Lazy and shiftless niggas since you've been out of physical bondage? The imperfect creations preceded the perfect. Let me take you back, give you a conception of what they're talking about. If I have it, hold on. Here we are. Y'all take a look at this image. So this image is designed to brainwash you, give you evidence to believe in Darwinism, in evolution. So that cloud there is YHWH. Okay, the deity. The woman is the Holy Spirit. So let's say Osiris and Isis. Okay, now look. She has a chain. And look who's attached to the chain. Looks like a monkey, right? The monkey is sitting on top of the world. The original man. You don't believe me? Here you are. They depict the Moor, the original autochthonous Sabian Moor, as a primate, a monkey. Let me read the page. Let me read that line again. The imperfect creation. This would be the Sabian Moor from the solar right dogma. The imperfect creations preceded the perfect. The perfect in their case would be the what? The modern hybrid troglodyte niggers, the Paleolithic caveman, the Neanderthals. Y'all know who they are. The imperfect creations preceded the perfect. The earliest attempts at time reckoning by the stars had failed. See, what they're saying is that the Sabian Moor primitive monkey beast was consciously connected to the universe, but had no what? Had no analytical skills. The left hemisphere of his brain was poorly developed, but he was somehow plugged in consciously, so he knew without any intellectual effort, without any skills in mathematics, etc., geometry, etc., natural law, pattern recognition. He just somehow knew. It was given to him. He didn't work for it, didn't earn it, didn't think about it. He was given everything he knows in the circumpolar zodiac. But somehow or another, this author admits that the whole world was at peace, a global brotherhood. There was no external gods, and everyone was self sufficient. Now, let me show you. I've gone over this a lot of times, y'all. So you can look in my other videos and learn more. So you see the crescent moon by her vagina? Okay, that's the celestial genetrix or gynomatrix. Also, what, y'all? Mut, the moon, the queen of the heavens. Cheap remix of the Great Mother Typhoon. But you see, she is also the Holy Spirit, right? The Holy Spirit is a woman. Look at this closely. She has the more in chains. So in other words, the solar religion has the Moors in psychological and physical bondage. Y'all see the cord between the father? Y'all see the cord between the father and his wife, between Osiris and Isis? Okay? So let me show y'all. Hold on. I hope I can find it. Oh, there we are. Perfect. So here we are. Same message. This is Jesus. Okay? The central sun. Each, you see the rainbow? Do y'all see the rainbow? Okay. Also, letter U. Y'all see it? Also, the letter U. So here's JC, the Christ figure. Look who he has in his hand, a sleeping Moor. This Moor has his head in the east gate, Aries the ram, Jesus the Lamb of God. He is sleeping. He's civilly dead. He's a debtor in civics, and he's in bondage, financial bondage. Remember that Jesus is Mercury. Jesus is Mercury. Okay. Jesus rules over commerce, so he is in bondage. Y'all see that hand sign? This is the hand sign of peace. So keep them niggas, denationalized, African Americans, black, Hispanic, Moriscos, whatever you want to call, whatever label y'all got for the autochthonous people. The solar rights mindset is they have peace by having you in bondage, by having you sleep in the East Gate. Y'all see that this is today. Well, I'm gonna call him a black man because his eyes are closed and he's in the palm of Jesus' hand. So he's black. This is a nigga. This is chattel, African American, a fool. I used to be one. I ain't putting them down. This is the entire image. Y'all see how Jesus is giving him to the ecclesiastical class? That's supposed to be the Apostle John. All right. So let me leave that. And this is the last paragraph, just so we can have everything uh, I want to say. Let me just do this. Here we go. Page 24, 2 plus 4 is 6. Okay, so 6 now is masculine. So the law of gender. The circle are the testicles, and then the line going up is the penis. The biblical account of the war in heaven, so this is the book of Revelation, is accompanied astrologically. I'm sorry, is explained astrologically. So in the devil's pulpit, uh, the author will Robert Taylor will say the astrological solution. It's the same thing as the astronomical explanation. Okay, when Typhoon, this is Great Mother Typhoon, and Soot, her son Soot, or the northern constellation of the Bear, and the glowing dog star in the south, that's the clock of destiny. The thigh of the great bear is the minute hand of the clock of destiny. Soot, the dog star in the south, is the hour hand of the clock of destiny. Prove false in their reckoning of time, causing their own degradation, their own downfall. So y'all see that's ridiculous on his face, right? So it has to have another meaning. Okay? Proved false. Who determined that it was proved false? Well, it was the Solarites, right? Listen, their own degradation. That means, and I'm speaking because I'm looking back, I'm looking at now and looking back, cause their own degradation. That means that anything, any and everything that's said about the Great Mother Typhoon and Soot the Dog Star, the Clock of Destiny, and Circle 7 will be extremely negative. It will be associated with wickedness and evil. Okay, whatever the solar religious doctrine is that you're supposed to aspire to be as representing heavenly and holy, the Great Mother Typhoon and Soot the Dog Star will be the extreme opposite or evil compared to that, relative to that. Y'all see it? And it's their fault. That's like blaming a woman for getting raped. Well, she should have stayed home. She shouldn't have went outside, right? She shouldn't have went outside by herself. This is ridiculous on his face. This was also brought about, her downfall and degradation, by the change in the Earth's axis. Well, do we accept that, y'all? Or do they need to prove it? Well, it should be proved. It needs to be proven, right? Which had gradually pointed to a star. In other words, we're not going to give it full faith and credit unless we see strong evidence to prove it. Otherwise, there's no need to believe that. You'd be stupid to believe something, right? Which had gradually pointed to a star other than the one around which it had been revolving. So we need to have evidence, right? Before we give this full faith and credit. Otherwise, we're being naive, thinking that these criminals won't lie, or thinking that these criminals won't lie to get us to trust them and believe them. Okay, y'all? We're dealing with known criminals. Let's continue. Sick criminals. Okay, so this was also, so their own degradation and downfall was also brought about by the change in Earth's axis, which had gradually pointed to a star other than the run around which it had been revolving. I've been around science long enough to know that they be lying, y'all. I wish I could tell y'all some examples, but YouTube will strike, they might remove or strike this video. It was the Egyptian Osirians who cast out and condemned the ancient mother, the ancient great mother Typhoon. It was the Egyptian Osirians who initially did that. The Pharaoh was Pharaoh Menes around 4,590 or 60 BCE. Okay, y'all? Who cast out? Y'all look these words up. Cast out and condemn. They have a meaning in law. All right. It was the Osirians who changed the dog god. This is Soot the dog star, the hour hand of the clock of destiny in the south celestial pole region. It was the Osirians who changed the star god, Soot the dog star, into Sebek Ra, the sun god. The Osirians then placed upon Sebek Ra's head a pair of horns, and he became the ram or lamb. See, the Lamb of God, JC, Jesus, all solar deities. And he became the ram or lamb symbolized in the zodiacal sign Aries. Remember what we read about Aries, y'all, earlier? Right? Aries, the east gate. And when the SUN sun passes into Aries, Aries became typical of the change from one pole star to another. In other words, they just remixed it, they just copied it. Okay? So here's Earth's axis. Okay, here's Earth's axis. Here's the pole star. All right. So what they're saying is that over time, a new pole star will come in and replace that one. It's about 26,000 years or so, 25,900 years, approximately, something like that. It is a great year. It is a great zodiacal year. That's where they got the number of years, the number of a great zodiacal years. They got it from the change in the pole star. Okay, so the sun will go from Aries into each of the other 11 zodiac signs in approximately 26,000 years. Maybe it's 25,600. I don't remember. Okay, it's called a great zodiacal year. A zodiacal age is approximately 2,160 years. So multiply that by 12. That'll give you a great zodiacal or a great year, a great zodiacal year. And they just copied it. They just copied it. Okay, from the change of the pole star in the north celestial pole region. How often does the pole star change? Every approximately 25,900 years, 26,000 years. That's all they did. Okay, now let's continue. This casting out, and the casting out was done through warfare and birthright theft, libel, and slander. This casting out of the old mother, the great mother typhoon, took place, listen, y'all, when theology, that's religion, solar religion, when solar religion, when the solar gods, ain't there's no such thing as a solar god. So this would be what? The ecclesiastical class, the priesthood, the dark priesthood, when theology turned many of these ancient myths into religious history. This is Jeremiah 8, verse 8. Religious chaos resulted. I'm telling y'all, this sounds recent. This sounds recent. Whenever I read this, I think about the Middle Ages. Okay? Is this telling a story that only happened a couple hundred years ago? Is this telling our story about how we got to where we are now, but they just tacked on a couple thousand years? Y'all, to disorient us, because I mean the verse does say they sought to change times and seasons, right? These are celestial cycles and natural cycles, seasons, winter, summer, spring, and fall, etc. There are lots of cycles, celestial cycles, times and seasons. There's lots of seasons. You have a season in life. Religious chaos resulted, and the past was almost lost in obscurity. And Sabian reckoning of time and reality and natural law, don't steal, celestial time cycles, was almost lost in obscurity. But strange to relate, followers of the ancient typhoon cult of the first Immaculate Conception are spread all over the world today. In other words, you can go back and find information about Sabian time, that mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. You can find it in Buddhism. In Buddhism, yeah, consciousness, meditation. You can find it there. You can find remnants of it there. If I go outside, look on a pagoda or a temple, I can see the Buddhist wheel of life. I can see what they call today the swastika, which is really a remix of the position of the Big Dipper, which is the thigh of the Great Bear in winter, summer, spring, and fall. And by the way, those positions, those seasons, are where we get the four gospels from. That's where we get everything four from. All right? The significance of four. It's in a lot of places, y'all. The Pope, the Catholic Church, the Holy See. This is the celestial sea, but they're remixing it to terrestrial sea and political and religious authority. All right. Though many of them are in ignorance, I can tell you that. I have a colleague here in Vietnam who knows something about numerology, who's an avid, who's really into meditation, doesn't know anything about what I'm talking about, but very avid, very much into Buddhism, meditates all the time, doesn't know anything about Sabian time. Okay, y'all? Remember, meditation is the doorway to the workshop of the mind. It's the doorway to consciousness. See, meditation, you can relax and everything, but you don't have in the meditation practices in the East that are popular, common, they don't teach you how to willfully, consciously control, to create in the meditative state and to solve problems in the meditative state. They don't teach you that. They don't teach you how to harmonize the left and right hemispheres of the brain. They don't teach it. They teach you how to relax, okay, and how to get the benefits from relaxing your mind and body. But to consciously solve a problem or to willfully solve a problem, willfully create, or what they call manifest now, they don't teach you that. All right. I know because I talk to people. All right. So, though many of them are in ignorance of the foundation of their religious beliefs, also what came to my mind is when I was in India, they were, I was invited to worship at the temple of the monkey. They didn't have a clue. So, temple of the monkey would be Han Uman, the monkey gods, Han Uman. They didn't have a clue what that means. Assalamu alaikum, Islam to all the more, Shalom.